Hello, welcome everybody joining in right now. This is Neil with Portal to Ascension. Just going to hang out for a bit and wait for some people to join. Checking on the live streams. Hope you all are doing well. To start out this show, this is the first time really that I've gone live like this. I've done events. I've done other events where I've gone live with entire conferences. I have done other recordings and then premiered them on YouTube. But this is the first time I'm just going live raw here on YouTube. And we're going to do a little update. So I'm here because I want to discuss a few things. Want to talk about definitely the Israeli space chief and the information that came out with that and kind of break it down a little bit, but then also talk about some upcoming PTA work, PTA events that we got going on. So I see a lot of people are joining in. What I'm going to do to start out this is start out with a little poem, a little spoken word, and that will give some time for more people to join so we can get right into what we're going to discuss today. So if you're joining me right now, let's just take a few deep breaths together. This one's called Advanced Tech, and I guess it's a good way to start since we're going to be talking about spaceships in just a second here. So this poem is called Advanced Technology. As the advanced tech increases, progressive, a life that creates regressions of past life will be tested, dissected, manipulated, and created, rhymes that fuel the resurrection of men and women to reincarnate and live a life of Zen. Worshipping the sun god Amen Ra, spitting freestyles in the car, embodying the energy of multiple stars, constellations and nebula far away, connected to the localized points in space, bending time to bridge gaps between sentient minds. The shortest distance isn't always a straight line. Sometimes you can teleport and unwind. Your molecules and DNA strands are so fine. Travel the inner world to discover and find a doorway buried inside your bloodline. There's a doorway buried inside your bloodline. So hello and welcome everybody. This is Neil with Portal to Ascension. Thank you all so much for being with me here. We're going to jump right into it. Some new information that has come out, and I'm sure a lot of you have probably seen this already. But let me show you these articles here. That the Israeli space chief, the supposedly the individual that actually started the Israeli space program, says aliens may well exist, but they haven't met humans. And this article has been shared by many different news agencies. And if you go to Google right here and you just search Israeli space aliens, you can see there's pages and pages of articles from all types of organizations and news stations such as NBC. So it's definitely picked up by the mainstream. And then Israel. So many Israeli newspapers have picked this up. So local newspapers, this isn't just going viral in the US like some of these alien stories do. This is also going viral in Israel itself. And people are commenting on it. And you can see here, we'll go down a little bit more, some local news stations. So if you've been following UFO disclosure at all over the last like 8 years, 10 years even, you will notice that there's been articles dropping almost every single year and a couple of things happening every single year. And if you go back to the whole Tom DeLonge disclosure when he went onto his Twitter feed and basically announced that they have been reverse engineering or they're attempting to reverse engineer technology that is from not from this planet, that ever since that moment, there's been more and more information coming out, especially with the Nimitz UFO craft, the U.S. Navy, the Pentagon admitting and acknowledging the UFO phenomena, and that these craft were definitely not from Earth. So it's been kind of like we've been building up momentum, right? Whether a lot of this has been taken over by a specific agenda and Tom DeLonge isn't really working for the light and has a specific agenda to release it, we can only speculate and people can tell us what they believe in regards to that. I personally don't really feel that the disclosure coming out in regards to the nuts and bolts and the technology is really the disclosure that is needed in order to really understand what is going on here. The real part of the disclosure would be the questions of who are these beings, where did they come from, how they connected to us, what kind of investment do they have in our existence, if they are ciphering energy or ciphering DNA and creating hybrids. There's some evidence for that. Even declassified government programs that say that, what are they doing that for? These are the questions rather than the technology and what we can do for the technology. So what's different with this right here? Why am I sharing this? This has happened many times in the last year alone, probably a few big incidents. I think it was 2019 or maybe early 2020 when when the Pentagon acknowledged that the US Navy footage was actually legit. So why is this important here? Well, if you dissect these articles, and let me read just a little bit of it for you. The unidentified flying objects have asked not to publish that they are here. Humanity is not ready. Okay, so that's one component there, really telling us that we're not ready for what's to come, and that goes into the whole vibrational argument, really, that we're not at the vibration in order to be able to communicate with them. But there's some other components that are mentioned here that we have never seen before in any other drop. They actually mentioned the Galactic Federation, right? So the Galactic Federation, if you guys haven't heard, is usually something that really stays in spiritual circles. So when you see these UFO disclosure drops, you were talking about technology, we're talking about the government, the Pentagon, the Navy, the Air Force, but we don't really get into the spiritual jargon that we find within this community of people that channel extraterrestrials. The Galactic Federation is utilized mostly with channelers. So for an Israeli space chief to basically say that they're connected to the Galactic Federation, that is very interesting to know. But another component is if you go and look into any channeling information, many of these channelers actually say there are two federations. There's a Galactic Federation and a Galactic Confederation. That the Galactic Confederation have a hands-off approach to Earth, and they're actually not attempting to control or manipulate our reality. And the Galactic Federation believe they have our best interest in mind, but they are the ones that are actually manipulating reality, and they're directly connected to those who say they rule us or the overlords of this reality. So that is kind of the difference between Galactic Federation and the Confederation. So whether that's true or not, I don't know. Maybe it's just the Galactic Federation and someone channeled the Confederation and said that, oh no, the Confederation is legit, but they had all the information completely wrong. Who knows? But it's interesting to note that that is actually something that we can actually define as two different organizations that have been brought up before. So if this is true, if he's talking about the Galactic Federation and all these other channels have been talking about the Confederation and Federation, my question really is, who is he exactly talking about? And are these the beings that he's talking about that have the betterment of humanity? Is that what they have in mind, the betterment of humanity? And then secondly, his colleagues in Israel, like this guy seems pretty legit because his colleagues in Israel, right, are are basically still accept him. If somebody came out in the US this level and wrote a book and it went viral, there would be some level of ridicule. We may take him seriously, but there's also a lot of jokes, a lot of backlash, especially from their own community and their own colleagues. But this guy, his colleagues in Israel, literally are saying that we still hold him in high self-esteem, and that even though they do not believe him entirely, the fact that he came up with this idea means that he must have done his research and he truly believes it. So people that he worked with, even people that currently work in the space agency in Israel, are saying that they don't really believe him because they don't know, they haven't really been into it and researched it themselves, but because of how much of a great guy he is, how well researched he is, how in high esteem everybody holds him, they actually believe that he must have done his research and there must be a reason behind why he actually is saying this. So it's for the first time something viral like this where the own peers in his own country are actually taking him seriously. And then the third thing here, they will wait. Okay, this is what we spoke about already. They will wait until we are ready and where we will understand what space and spaceships are. So that's another thing that he added there, that they're basically waiting until we're ready, right? Until we meet them at that vibration and where we will understand what space and spaceships are. So that's interesting. What does that really mean? And as soon as I heard those words, space and spaceships, I was thinking that, we're already dissecting NASA, for example, and realizing that a lot of what NASA puts out there is complete BS and fake and even doctored, right? And there's even pictures of UFO craft that shows up on NASA's feed on their website, and then they pull down within 24 hours. So there's a lot going on with NASA. and we don't know really what's going on. So if space is what they have told us it is, we really don't know, because we haven't really been out there, you and I ourselves, within this reality, within this body right now. And then secondly, spaceships traveling through space, and the whole concept of the nuts and bolts UFO being able to travel interstellar or intergalactic or through a wormhole. Maybe that wouldn't work if we just talk about nuts and bolts UFOs. So maybe there is another form of a spaceship. We've heard of light bodies, for example, within the spiritual community, that you able to go through your Merkaba and transcend reality and travel. Also, light ships. There have been images of from on NASA's own website of huge orb-like Earth-sized spheres coming out of the sun. So what space and spaceships are, maybe it really needs a whole redefining of what we believe is actually reality and what we've been told it is. And not only that, what Hollywood's telling us it is. Much of what we understand as space, that literally like space and spacecraft and even aliens and what they look like, comes from Hollywood, which has been compromised a long time ago anyway. And the history shows that from the beginning, that it's just been all about manipulation and controlling the narrative and trying to portray a reality on people for them to accept. So where will we understand what space and spaceships are? Now, I feel that we're moving into this reality. I don't know how long it's going to take. Many people try to come up with timelines that we're going to be getting to this reality where we can communicate with ETs. We're definitely picking up so much momentum that even though it could be like next week, somebody could disclose it. It could be in a month from now. But I honestly, personally, truly deep down feel myself that within the next 3 to 5 years, it's going to be extreme common knowledge about ETs, especially if many of these businesses that exist, including Tom DeLonge's To the Stars Academy, is in the process of releasing technology that they're claiming came from unidentified craft. Like that is occurring right now. Apps are being created like from To the Stars again in order to track different unidentified craft coming in and out of our atmosphere by people seeing it. So there's conflicting agendas, and some agendas seem that they could really be in order to demonize aliens and make them look as a threat. But then there are many other ones that don't want that to happen, including humans on Earth. Like there are very few people that have this idea of what they want us to believe, but there's many more people that are out there that once they reclaim the sovereignty and can kind of shift and disconnect from that control manipulative agenda, can really create peace and beauty on Earth. So when will contact happen? I have no idea. I really like kind of tune out anyone that gives me a date these days. It's We're on our way there. It's truly up to us. What's happening right now seems like a huge dark night of the soul. We're getting a lot of time in order to experience who we are and reconnect with who we are, and also readdress our priorities in life. And it seems like there's a long journey of healing that we all need to go through in order to get there. Like even myself, there's a lot to do in order to get to the place where we're at the vibration where we can have open contact with a different race and start whatever we will do after that, whether it's trading, communicating, trading technology that could take us to into intergalactic and take us out into space. Are we ready to travel out into space? I think many of us are. We have the mentality to do it. But right now, the hierarchical structure on Earth is kind of eroding and corroding us. And we need to shift that structure in order for us to be able to create a paradigm, a reality, an economy that really truly benefits everybody. And that's what is happening right now. And we see a lot of systems collapsing. And I'm hopeful when these systems start collapsing. I feel honestly that we are making way for something new, that these systems are collapsing so that the new can take over. And a lot of times it's not easy just to have one system kind of just like take over another one when the other one's fully running. Sometimes you need one thing to completely collapse in order for a better system to be imposed on top of it. And that is my hope right now, is what we're creating. So keep your eye out on this information. It's definitely going to be more and more information coming out there. It's interesting to note that the last few years, most of this information was from the US. So now we're getting info outside of the US affirming the whole UFO ET phenomena. And there have been researchers such as Grant Cameron and Whitley Strieber, Travis Walton, that have said that a lot of the world is literally waiting for the US to disclose fully. Like, it's been disclosed already, but has it been accepted and told to us by an authority figure that the whole US would actually listen to? No. So people say disclosure's already happened. Yeah, it's happened. People can know it. You can go and research it. But has it happened from the authority figure that will make it that all the people that aren't going to listen to those other people will address it and actually understand it and accept it as reality? That hasn't happened yet. So I don't hope we live in a world that we don't even need that. I really do wish that we can be in a world that we don't need to have some sort of authority figure tell us like this is what it is, or CNN or MSNBC tell us what it is. But it honestly seems that the majority of the world still actually relies on that. As much as like mainstream media is on its way out and people don't really trust it as much anymore, those same people, a lot of individuals, really take what is being said and that becomes their reality because it is said so much time. We hear it from all the way all around us all the time. So disconnecting from that, staying tuned into all this, taking everything with a grain of salt, and just observing from that neutral perspective and seeing what manifests, not really attaching yourself to these articles and these stories thinking that this is it and it's all like now disclosure is happening. Just observe, because it could take a while. What needs to really happen first is we need to do the inner work. We need to make the real change, and then we can create peace on earth, heaven on earth. So everybody, thank you so much for being with me. I'm just going to also transition now and tell you guys about a couple of events coming up on Portal to Ascension. Firstly, I have just launched the Portal to Ascension podcast, and we're up on iTunes. We'll be on Spotify very soon. Be on Apple, or we're on Apple. We'll be on Pandora and Google Podcasts and a few other platforms. And what's happening right now is for the first 50 episodes, I'm going on the podcast every single day for 50 days. And we're going to be showcasing one of the speakers from our Portal to Ascension conference, our third one that took place October 4th of 2020. And there was around 50 to 60 individuals that took part of it. So the first 50 to 60 podcasts will be the interviews with these speakers, or it will be one of the panels. There was 4 panels: the UFO disclosure panel, the extraterrestrial, the UFO disclosure panel, the extraterrestrial experiencer panel, which was for contactees, the ascension panel, and the divine feminine panel. And they were like truly epic. Some of the most revolutionary minds that I've had the honor to ever get into the work were a part of that. And if you want to check out the actual live footage, you can go to our YouTube channel if you're already on it, youtube.com/portal to ascension. Go to the videos there. All 5 days are there right now. And I'm actually going live every single day with a different speaker. So if you're tuning in on YouTube, chances are you're actually tuning in also when we're going live with other speakers. But what you could do to support us is go to the podcast page, subscribe to it, download that podcast. That would be really awesome, because I have actually just recently been banned from Facebook and Instagram. And I'm saying this on all the platforms every time I'm on it right now, but pretty soon I'm going to stop it, because I'm honestly like, I have a little kind of concern that the more I say that I'm banned from these 2 things, they may pick up that I'm saying it and delete another one of my platforms. So like that has happened. IG and FB gone. PTA has been deplatformed. We do have the Portal to Ascension fan page still running, but I'm not able to run it. So that's what really inspired me to take the step and get the podcast up really quick so we can get our information out, because those like big tech literally like completely flattened our reach like through hardcore censorship. And this happened in October. There was 3 purges in October, just to let you guys know what happened. There were 3 purges in October, and all conscious different type of platforms talking about conscious topics got taken out, and thousands of them got deleted, including, you know, friends of ours, including, for example, Laura Eisenhower. She got deleted off it. And it's just this huge move in order to control the narrative, because they feel that this information is a threat to what they're doing. So whatever you can do to support people like this so we can keep getting this information out will be awesome. So check it out, Portal to Ascension podcast. You can subscribe to me if you want to hear some of my poetry and spoken word and maybe some other cool things I'm doing on Instagram. It's at MC_resonance. So that's @ MC, like Mary Charlie _ resonance. So add me on Instagram, and we can connect there. lastly, we do have some upcoming events coming up. And I'm really excited because it's going to be taking place this weekend, tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. I'm going to be on this conference here, Sacred Sites and Ceremonies Online Conference. This is an unprecedented kind of event for us because a lot of these events, 90% to 100% of the whole production is really myself creating the event. But now I'm working with a lot of different organizations. Sacred Stories is one of them. The Institute for Exoconsciousness is another one of them. The Cosmology for the Soul, which is an organization dedicated to the phenomena of walk-ins. Walk-ins, um, I'll tell you what that is in a second when I get to the event. But these organizations have come together with me to do basically create this event 50% of the energy we put in together, and now it's helped me not only be able to create more beautiful, well curated events and conferences and retreats and everything for you guys, but it's also allowed me to start connecting with more people and stay true to my intention, which is to unite and do collaboratory events. So we're moving into that. 2020 was a great year for us, still is a great year, and we're going to be moving this energy into 2021 and doing huge collaboratory events. I have I have all the events scheduled up until around June or July of next year already. You can check them out by going to our website, online events, and look at them over there with some really cool things. But this is the conference starting tomorrow at 9 a.m. Disclaimer before I get into this. Right now on Portal to Ascension until the end of the year, we do have a no one turned away policy because of COVID. So we this policy we're going to continue throughout next year as well. But due to this whole thing, we really want everybody to have the opportunity to be a part of this and get the information that they want out of it. So not only are we doing that, but if you want to donate and contribute anything and be a part of an event, that's fine. But if you can't do that, that's okay too. So really, everybody who wants to be a part of it should be a part of it, because that's extremely important right now, is coming together and doing this and creating a collective intention. And that's what tomorrow's event is. We have a synchronistic day, synchronistic number, 12/12/2020. At 9 o'clock tomorrow, Sacred Sites Ceremonies Online Conference. There's going to be 6 presenters and 8 sacred ceremonies. And this conference took around 4 to 5 months to put together, getting the speakers, working with Sacred Stories. And what we've done is we've curated a synchronistic event on a synchronistic day, connecting to ley lines and energy centers around the entire planet, with 6 presenters presenting on sacred sites, different sacred sites around the world, and then also 8 indigenous ceremonies. So it's going to be ceremony, presentation, ceremony, presentation, ceremony, presentation, all day, being in the energy of just being in an all-day ceremony, but not just any ceremony, a ceremony that represents around 14 to 15 different places around the world. Many of these individuals actually streaming from those places, connecting us with this grid and this unified field of all these indigenous people. So this really paragraph right here kind of explains it all. So I'm going to read this to you. This is the journey that we're going to take tomorrow. We begin at the epicenter of our Earth in South Africa, home of the White Lions, and where legend tells the place where the Star Lions came down. Next, we will anchor the goddess energies, honoring goddesses from the 4 corners of our Earth. Continue with us to explore the sacred Egyptian mysteries of the Tree of Life, and then we'll go to the Pyramid of the Sun in Mexico, where humans became gods. Travel to Lake Mungo, Australia, home of the oldest living culture on Earth. Complete our world tour at the Temples of Humankind in Damanhur, Italy, where the 4 synchronic energy lines intersect and travel out through our sun to connect with us to the universe. Experience these cultures and energies with 8 indigenous ceremonies designed to align, activate the energies, the Earth's grid, and ley lines with reverence for the antiquity of humanity and our collective story. So that's what we're going to do tomorrow. It's going to be truly beautiful. And then yours truly is going to end the event with a meditation. I'm going to be hosting the event with Ariel from Sacred Stories. And then at the end of the event, I'm going to like come up with a meditation, channel it in the moment, of all of the sacred sites together coming into one and connecting us to the universe, kind of like um, the icing on the cake. After everybody says all of these ceremonies, we're going to do the one final thing, which is take all these energies of Earth connected to the universe and just bring that energy back down showered over the entire planet. So that's what's happening tomorrow. And hopefully you guys could be there. Some of you can join us. Some of the speakers we have, Linda Tucker from the White Lion Society, Trisha McCannon. She's going to be talking on goddess wisdom from the four directions. So she's going to be talking on about the divine feminine sacred sites around the world. And then William Henry will be talking about sacred Egypt and the tree of life. Linda Starwolf will be doing the pyramid of the sun. Jason Kelly will be live from Lake Mungo, Australia, with a few of these other people here that are all from Lake Mungo. And then we have Dominaher Italy represented. Soto Guzman will be doing a ceremony. Jose Munoz will be doing a Mayan daykeeper ceremony. And then that's the host right there with me, Neil. Tomorrow starts at 9 a.m. You do get unlimited replay access. So if you want to attend that, please do. It's going to be amazing. And if you don't attend it, we'll be putting it on YouTube probably 6 months down the line. And if you want to attend it but can't afford it, go ahead and email us, contact us at portaltoascension.org. Let me know. Tell me if you want to donate. Tell me if you can't donate, and then just attend the event because we want as many people to be a part of this as possible. And then secondly, the day after tomorrow, we have another amazing event. And this is free or by donation. And this is going to be really fun. It's called the Psychedelic Awareness and Plant Medicine Online Conference. So taking place this Sunday, 10:30 a.m. till 6 o'clock. I have an image here with 6 presenters, but we actually have 9 people, I think 9 or maybe even 10 people that are going to be a part of this. And it's basically a revolutionary event on plant medicine, entheogenic plants and fungus, mushrooms, and also psychedelic awareness. We're going to be talking about integrating psychedelic experiences, what the different types of psychedelics are, what kind of experiences you can expect from them, the indigenous wisdom behind these plants and fungi, how they were used back then, how they're used now, the implementation of these into mainstream pop culture society now. For example, using it with therapy. An individual here, his name is Paul Antico. His talk will be healing trauma with plant fungi medicines, all about dosage, difficult journeys, and more. So the information shared here is really going to answer a lot of questions you didn't even think you had, but you would probably after you had these experiences. So something, for example, that is happening now is that we're getting into the healing of all types of traumas with these psychedelics, with these plants, and it's going to really soon be implemented into mainstream culture. Actually, in Canada this year, they're the first mushroom psilocybin corporation exists now, and they've been working this year to figure out the best dosage in order to create pill forms of not only MDMA but also psilocybin, and for therapeutic over the counter, right? So I haven't done enough research, even though I have my own beliefs, but I'm not going to put them on you in order to know if we should do it over the counter or not, right? Maybe right now we could do it in therapy like settings where the therapist is kind of monitoring it. That is what is occurring right now in the US, Santa Cruz, Oakland, Oregon, Denver. Those are all, and there's many more actually. Those are all places that already decriminalized. So now they're coming up with different ways in order to implement it. And Dr. Bronner's something in the tune of over $1 million donated in order to implement MDMA into pop culture, into society. And the reason for that is not because they're trying to donate money and get a tax write-off, right? They're doing it because they know that it's inevitable. This has happened. We've decriminalized it. We've realized the properties. We can heal trauma. We can heal organs. We can heal all types of stuff. Now is the time in order to put the money into creating the infrastructure needed for plant medicines and psychedelics in the entire world. 100 different cities had the decriminalization of natural occurring psychedelics and entheogenic fungus and plants in the US this year alone. I don't know, a lot of them got put to the side because of COVID. So, there was a huge halt in the decriminalization of plant medicine, even though some places still went forward with it. But it's happening, and it's only a matter of time until we get this decriminalized globally, maybe, definitely in the US is happening. So yeah, he's one of the individuals, and here's a better idea of who's going to be part of it. Andrew Sandoval. He's going to be talking about Combo, which is an extract from a frog in the Amazon forest that when you ingest gives you around 15 to 20 minute, actually longer than that sometimes, but for me it was like 20 minutes experience where you have flu-like symptoms and basically are draining all toxins from your body. The way I like to explain it is like getting your body and rinsing it out like a wet towel and emptying toxins from your body. He's going to be talking about that and the integration process. Brandy Alessandra is going to be talking about ayahuasca and ceremonies and the different types of healing people are receiving from that. And Social will be doing, she will be talking about psilocybin. Ilak will be speaking about, he is a shaman, he's a generation shaman from Peru. So he's going to be talking about the experience of being a shaman and actually providing medicine for people. And then myself, I'll be hosting, and my default setting is always talking about physical and emotional trauma, right? So I'll be definitely bringing that component in. And Joan of Angels is also going to be one of the hosts with me. And then we have a good 4 or 5 people talking about mushrooms and decriminalization of all this. So if you guys want to be a part of it, you can go to our website, go to portaltoascension.org, click on online events, and then here's the first 2 events. And you can join us there. And then of course we have many, 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 many events. So much going on. The Human Hybridization Program, Laura Eisenhower online Q&A, Ascension Exopolitics and Disclosure on January 3rd, 3 days after the end of the year. So that's going to be great. And then the walk-in 3-day conference. The walk-in 3-day conference is exploring the phenomena of a walk-in. What is a walk-in? There are actually various types of walk-ins, and there's like a handful of them. I forget if they're 3, 4, or 5, but there are certain walk-ins that have been categorized by people that hypnotize individuals to see if they are actually a walk-in. And the walk-in is basically, to put it simply, that you switch your soul out in this body with another soul that isn't in your body, another dimension, another planet, another existence, whether it's an angelic soul, an alien soul, an interdimensional soul. Oftentimes, if not all the time, that soul is actually another reflection and aspect of yourself. It's like your own soul incarnated somewhere else. You switch yourself out with that because the information in that walk-in soul is relevant and important to the now times. So that walk-in comes down with all types of information. For example, there's one walk-in that's going to be on this conference. I forget which one because we have 22 people, but she actually came back down with the awareness of the science between dimensions and densities. So her whole talk is going to be breaking down dimensions and densities of what it is. And she didn't know any of that stuff until 20 something when she had a walk-in experience, and all of a sudden, boom, she's just here and she's aware of it all. So this is the first ever walk-in conference, and definitely the first ever 3-day walk-in conference, Friday, January 8th to Sunday, January 10th. We're going to have 22 presenters. They're going to be actual walk-ins and researchers on walk-ins. So people like Mary Rodwell, Barbara Lamb, those are Rebecca Hardcastle. Those are individuals that are the researchers. And then most of the other people, even a mother and a son that are both walk-ins. And the schedule's here and everything. So yeah, if you want to attend that, you can go ahead and take a look on our website. So many beautiful, amazing things. We're just picking up momentum. We're not going to stop. This is what we're here for, and I love doing it. So that's it for me, guys. I love you all so much. I'm going to end this with a poem. So let me stop the screen share here, and let's check in with YouTube and see if anybody is saying anything and tuning in here on the channel. All right. Let me see, which poem should I do? All right, this one's called Atlantis. So are we one yet? Going back to source. No remorse when we reinforce the course that we all endorse. Unconditional love. It's the highest vibration, a gift from above. Desolation or separation, we must be the ones to say this is enough. The third dimension was meant to be tough. There is no captivity, so unlock the cusp, move away from hate and begin to trust. No more anger or lust. A thought shift the earth's crust into a straight axis. Just like in Atlantis, stop causing damage and learn to manage self-realization. When people start to vanish, when we change our intentions and join the like-minded souls in the fifth dimension. This is the beginning of our oversoul mission. What is it that you envision for the future incarnations? The Christ consciousness has arisen. Tear the perception of being in a prison. This industrial system, slumber of opposites, duality where we get lost and forget how to circumvent and achieve liberation. The curiosity won't last for long at all. As you move to the aquatic age, break free from the third dimensional cage of limitations, Freemasons being misplaced in this illusionary reality. Governing authorities, there will be no more war. Co-created love ambassador, open the doors. Life isn't supposed to be a chore. No getting on your knees, worshiping entities from the floor. The message is simple. We don't need to know anymore. We are the ones that we've been waiting for. Thank you all so much. Love you all. Have a beautiful night or morning, wherever you are on the planet. Okay, talk later.